Hello tanks and tankettes, and welcome to a video I was thinking I probably wouldn't have to make, both in that it's another editorial type video so soon after the first one, and also because of the announcement in it. Now, if you're here, you've probably already heard, because Jingles put out a video last night, and it's already on my Twitter as well, so if you followed me on Twitter, you'll have seen it there first. But yes, I'm no longer a community contributor with Wargaming EU. Now, it wasn't the easiest decision to take in the world, but I felt I had to in the end, and it was for a number of reasons. But the principal one for me is that I'm just not happy with Wargaming EU's handling of this entire situation, and more specifically, I'm not happy with the statement that appeared in Kotaku and also was sent to Jim Sterling, which he read out, which apparently was sourced from the NA office, and more on that in a little bit. And then Wargaming's response to that, or rather initially the lack of response, because we had 2 whole days where there was just nothing in the Wargaming CC Discord channel. And the first response, in fact, it's over 2 days, it was sort of like 2.5 days. The first response was Florian Mental putting a post up on the forums on the Monday. And the initial post didn't even address this. It was one of the people posting underneath that said, well, what about the statement where, and I quote, it said, if those videos continue to include hate speech and homophobic slurs, we'll take the necessary and appropriate action. And Florian Mental's response was, we're not standing by those claims. And I saw on Twitter that Jim Sterling was sent exactly the same response. So that principally is the thing that's ticked me off. And it's the reason why I feel like I now need more distance from Wargaming as a company. I'm not blowing up my channel. I'm not stepping away from Wargaming products entirely. I know most people that watch me are here for tanks and warships, and I enjoy those games still, so I will keep covering them. And I think their response has been sufficient that I will quite happily continue to cover those games. But sufficient is really, this is one of the other issues I have, is that a lot of Wargaming's response has been merely sufficient. I don't really feel like we've had a lot of unequivocal statements about, well, we're going to, we're proud of our community, and we're going to, this was wrong and it was an inappropriate response. And I mean, we had an apology to Foch, although frankly I think he's owed another one at this point. We've had an unequivocal statement that this is not Wargaming's policy, and I think this is the only bit that was unequivocal, and it was the easiest bit for them to be unequivocal about, because as I covered in the previous video, and as if you've seen Jim Sterling's video on it as well, he pretty much went into it in even more detail, that the threat of a copyright strike for what Foch said was grossly inappropriate, and I would have liked something from Wargaming that actually felt properly contrite and sincere, and instead, some of it was okay, but I mean, I actually said yesterday I wasn't entirely happy with the 2 posts that we had in an existing thread, and now that Florian Mental's gone and made this new post, it's just compounded things. If it was just at the state where it was when I made the video yesterday, then I would still be a community contributor. I would think less highly of Wargaming than before, and I would maybe have a slightly more skeptical, critical eye than I had before, but I would still be happy to be in that program. But then this statement came out, apparently from NA, and the response was just so equivocal, so weak, and that's been enough to say no. I feel like I need some distance from Wargaming now, and at least a part of that is the fact that I count Foch as somebody that I'm friends with. So the fact that Wargaming has gone from saying, oh, we feel like Foch has has slandered and defamed us to then basically doing the same thing to Foch. There's no small amount of irony in that, you know. I already felt that this was an ironic situation with them actually, through what they did to Foch initially, actually kicking the visibility of the issue that he was raising far higher than it maybe already had been. But now we have an even heavier irony with this particular bit of incredibly misjudged communication from Wargaming. And as to why it happened, I don't know. I mean, we spent Saturday and Sunday waiting for an answer on this and didn't get one until Monday. And the fact that it is from NA, which I had to find out from watching Jim Sterling's video. Apparently Wargaming EU couldn't even find that out for me, or if they knew and didn't want to say. It raises some questions. Is Wargaming's internal communication bad enough that a snafu of this scale could take place? And that's the kindest possible interpretation. So I know what Jingles has said. I know his reasons, and it's like he feels that the assurances of Wargaming EU aren't necessarily enough to, they don't hold the authority that he thought they held in terms of the actions of Wargaming as a whole. Because, Wargaming's a big international company, let's not forget that. And I can see that, and I can partly share that concern, but for me it's much more that I just think they've treated Foch really shabbily. I think they have done a disservice to the community as a whole, and it just is not a thing that should have been allowed to happen in the first place. And then compounding it with this statement that should never have left the door. It does not speak well of Wargaming's corporate communications policy, or their chain of command as to the fact that this can get out the door and make things even worse. You don't fight a fire by pouring gasoline on it. So yeah, I'm no longer a CC, and honestly, for the channel, it's not going to mean huge differences. I'm not going to get early access to content anymore. I'm not going to get official invites to things. I don't know what this is going to mean as to the balance of content. I might think about trying to include some more non-tanks and warships stuff, but I mean, I have to say, just as a player of the games, I'm still enjoying them enough that even on that basis I wouldn't drop them. And I'm confident that Wargaming hasn't gone completely insane and decided that they're going to start censoring people, but I'm certainly going to be keeping a very sharp eye on them from now on, as I expect a lot of other people will. And so that's where we're at. That's where we are now. And if Wargaming has any sense whatsoever, they will not make these mistakes in future, and they will be a lot less equivocal, and they'll actually try and sound like they mean what they're saying, and hopefully they'll be a bit quicker about actually trying to address the issue that Foch was trying to raise, because we've been here before with I mentioned the Rubicon, the proposed 10.0 update, and the bundles, which both were big issues back in 2015, and Wargaming, they addressed those, but they took a while to do it. And I really hope they don't take as long to address this issue with premium balance, and particularly premium ammo as well. Premium ammo is a thing that I personally think could have done with looking at a long time ago. It's literally been suggested since it became available for credits that the change they make to it is that you get better penetration but less damage. It's been that long that people have been making that suggestion. So I think it's high time that Wargaming actually started at least appearing to take it seriously. Anyway, so that's enough for now. Again, I will demonetize this video. I did not want this to be internet drama video, but I just don't feel like Wargaming left me a lot of choice here. They just screwed so many things up in so many ways along the line, and it shouldn't have come to the stage where I felt like I had to walk away from this, and Jingles felt like he had to walk away from this. But it's not like we're burning our channels to the ground and saying no more wargaming stuff. It's just we're not community contributors anymore. So it's not like this is, in the scheme of things, particularly important or dramatic. There are far more important things going on in the world that you should care about far more than this. So I guess if anything is my final message here, let it be that. So, you can leave any comments on this situation below. I expect there will be a few. Please try to be civil. You can hit the like or dislike button, as the case may be, if you think I'm wildly overreacting, which I'm sure some people might. You can sub to my channel if you haven't already. And, as always, stay tuned for more.